What's the problem, right? You passive, 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 never push anything, never whip shot anything, never take any sort of aggressive positions. But when you do, you end. You end with your shield bash. Hey guys, this is an in-depth review on Brigitte's shield bash. Now this is more of a real-life application review. This isn't just going to be talking about all the details, but I do think some of those details are important, so I'm going to run through them really quick before we actually get to the gameplay. Now, the 4 uses for Brig shield bash. 2 of the primary ones I'm going to talk at the end. The first 2 detailed ones are using it in a 1v1. If I use the 50 damage from the shield bash, that can help me win a 1v1, especially against squishies. Bam, bam, right? There's different combos. I'm not going to be focusing on those today. There's a lot of videos on that already. The second use for shield bash is when you obviously have your ultimate, it gives you a stun. Very good at a lot of circumstances, can help burst down tanks, can help burst down DPS, can cancel ultimates, can peel your backline, all the old Brig shield bash stuff from Overwatch 1. But the 2 major uses of shield bash, the ones you're going to be looking to do more often in your ranked games, is you're going to be using your Brig shield bash to move around the map from point A to point B. For example, if I want to move from here to there, I could very quickly rotate without walking slowly out in the open. That could save me HP, that could save my life, that could save my shield HP, along with a lot of other uses. The other use, and the most common use, is actually using to disengage. So I can take an aggressive position as Brig, go in and proc my Inspire, help my DPS, help my supports, maybe not pushing directly on the tank, but pushing in a more aggressive position. And if they start to pressure me, if I get dove, shot, if I get low, or I get low in resources, I can bash out. And that's something that so many Brigs mess up in the low to mid ranks because they think, oh, shield bash in, aggressive stun, Overwatch 1. No, it doesn't do that anymore. And you're also a little bit squishier than you were in Overwatch 1. Your self-healing is a little bit weaker. So it's actually really important that you save that shield bash as a get out of jail free card so that you can take aggressive positions but still get out of them. Think of like a Moira Fade. A Moira can play very aggressively as long as she has that Fade. Now again, I'm not recommending always playing frontline as Brig, but it's more forgivable to play aggressively, whether it's on a flank, an angle, the back line, or the front line, as long as you have that shield bash to get out of jail free card. Now, we're gonna talk about the application of this in a more in-depth review. This is a pretty tough love review. This is a very talented Brig player. We're gonna be talking a lot about all the details of the Brig shield bash and an actual real life example. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. This is a very nuanced topic, and I'll chat with you later. Where can you go that other supports can't go that may be useful to suppress people, proc your Inspire, and give you better sightlines to heal your team?
Up the stairs.
What can you do in here?
I have a better line of sight of my teammates, and then I also have the protection.
Easier to proc your Inspire, yes or no?
Yes.
Easier to pack your Winston and Echo, yes or no?
Yes.
Still relatively safe, yes or no?
Yes.
Could a Zenyatta or Ana make it from here to here safely?
Not really. Questionably.
Questionably, exactly. I want a whip shot, let's go. See, you're not even peeking to proc your Inspire. You know? Not to mention the 70 damage. I mean, that's a Cassidy shot that you could do on a whip shot. And when you do push, how do you push?
I push with shield bash first.
You push with shield bash, not just with shield bash, but shield bash into who? Or into whom?
Junker Queen.
Junker Queen. What's the problem, right? You passive, 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 never push anything, never whip shot anything, never take any sort of aggressive positions. But when you do, you end. You end with your shield bash. Every single time.
Yep.
Right? Now, my question for you is why? Why do you think this is? Is it a lack of focus, a lack of understanding? In the middle of fights, you get a little bit flustered.
So I think the biggest issues, like with me shield bashing first, is I'm still like stuck in my ways of old Brig when she would stun someone. And now she doesn't do that anymore. She just does damage.
Right. How do you fix that first problem?
Don't do it.
Right. What you do is you get a giant fly swatter. And every time you shield bash aggressively without good reason to, because by the way, do you ever shield bash aggressively? Should you ever shield bash aggressively?
Not really.
Why not?
Because it's such a good escape tool for you.
But it does 50 damage. This question for you.
It should be left as a last resort, even though I'm not using it like
Okay. Remember when we were talking about this here, and you were like, you wanted to get in here? How would you have gotten there?
Without shield bashing, I would have had to walk.
That wouldn't have worked. So what was the solution?
Shield bash.
If you shield bash aggressively, what must be the criteria or criterion you have to meet?
Somebody, I would argue, lower on health.
Sure. How about this? When you shield bash aggressively, without having to think about all the trillions of rules, are you confident that you're going to be safe?
No.
Right. And as long as you can say yes, then go for it. If you can't, then don't do it. Where would you go?
Probably up the stairs.
Why?
Or
What could you do from here?
I can see Echo.
Mm-hmm.
And then Winston is trying to push through that way.
Will you get punished for going this aggressively onto these guys?
Possibly, but I have good cover.
And what else do you have in your cooldowns?
Shield bash.
Yeah, so you could take more aggressive positions to support your team because you have to get out of jail free cards. Like I'm Moira with Fade. I mean, even Overwatch 2 badge, right? It's like at least double or triple the distance that it is in Overwatch 1, right? So, you know, leverage that, right? Take positions that the supports normally don't get. You know, play cover, obviously, but like, you know. Now, should you be pushing here?
Not really, I just got hacked.
Alright, you're thinking too. Look at your HP.
I mean, it is full.
Okay, look at your bash.
Still there.
Look at what your team is doing.
Diving.
Look at what the enemy team is doing.
Trying to brawl.
So push them and bash out, right? Your team needs this. Yep. You know, you go in there and you swing your flail, maybe hit a whip shot on a squishy. I don't care if you push Mercy. I mean, Mercy's probably the easiest and safest push because she's not going to hit back, right? But Reaper, yeah, heck, even Queen, smack her around a little bit, beat her on the butt cheeks a little bit, you know, and then bash out. And if she tries to push you, you can whip. Or if you have, you know, don't have your whip, then you use your shield. Like, my point is that, again, what is your hero's strengths right now? Is it going to be sitting on cart and spectating? No, push. You have a massive advantage and you have all of your get out of jail free cards. Use them, right? Trust yourself some, you know? Have some faith. And if you mess this up, that's okay. It's fine. It's good to mess up because you're gonna need, like, trust me, after this review, you're gonna get in some ranked games and you're gonna feed your brains out. But you can't let that bother you, right? Because the whole point is that in the path to actually like figuring these things out, you got to be comfortable making a few mistakes. You know, you've earned the right to play more aggressively here. Do it. You know what I'm saying? 0 damage off of the CMP. 0, literally 0. One on the. Like as soon as you use, I know we talked about being cautious about pushing frontline, right? But there's nothing else to push right now. And as long as you have your shield bash, I'm okay with it. You know, limit test it a little bit. Go. Ah, see? You see that? What was the mistake here? Watch it. Miss your whip shot, shame on you. Ah!
And then shield bash. And
right? Swing, whip, shield bash out, and now you get carnaged. And now you feel scared. You see that? Now you feel scared, and you should feel scared. And your Mercy has to heal you, and now your Winston dies. That's your fault. That's your fault. But was the problem here, you were too aggressive? I should have been too defensive. No. What was the problem?
I ran through all my cooldowns.
Right, exactly. You ran through all your cooldowns, and in fact, you didn't play aggressively enough earlier when it mattered. And then when you did play aggressive, you played aggressive in the wrong way and at the wrong time. And now your team gets punished for it. Does that make sense?
Yes.